There we go. It's recording. So this topic is going to be very relevant for you today, and it's going to be something you can implement right away, and it's something you need to work on systematically all the time. And it's not something you can just batch out and knock it all out at once. We'll talk about that here in a second. I got two superstars I'm going to talk to you. Before we get into that, let's tell you who we are and what we do. Look, we are Grow Global. You're probably wondering, Grow Global, what is that? Well, Grow Global is simply this. We're a group of real estate agents from all different backgrounds, all different parts of the country. Sometimes even we have international people that are on here. And we do these masterminds to help you, to help you see what the masterminds are we're having. We have a website. It's whygrowglobal.com. One of our great people here is going to put all the links I'm getting ready to show you in the chat box so you can access them. But Why Grow Global and all the different tabs. For example, this one's events. And it talks about what we're going to be doing today. And I'll be getting back to that in a second. We also have an Instagram page. Make sure you follow. Look, there's only 130 people following us. You want to jump on that and see, because we post what's going on there. We know real estate's busy time. Sometimes you can't get here live. I always recommend time blocking this and coming live, because you can actually ask questions to the experts on the panel that we're going to be on there, relevant questions that are relevant to you. But if you can't get to it, we do record it, and we put the recordings on YouTube. Look, we've got 57 videos, man. We've been doing this for over a year now. And every topic you could think of, you can go back in there and you can search that. We do it on Zoom, of course. It's the same link every time, every week, realtormastermind.live. So it's super easy for you to find it. And we also have, of course, a Facebook page. The person invited you on the call, make sure they invite you to it. If not, you can request Grow Global Mastermind Academy, and somebody will vet you and let you in. We're just making sure it's just realtors in there. We don't know anybody else, because we talk real estate specific stuff, right, that the public doesn't need to know. All right, let's get to it, man. Let's talk about who we're going to be speaking with today. You're going to be very excited. Two absolute champions. We've got Candace Neff out of Central Ohio, and we've got Tony Williams out of the Atlanta area. And what they're going to be talking about today is discovering the secrets of leveraging Google reviews to enhance your online reputation. Now, this is a big deal that most agents don't do. So there's a chance for you to really make a dent, because a lot of agents don't focus on it. And it's going to be a big problem as we have AI start to come up, where people are going to ask AI, hey, AI, who's the best realtor in Central Ohio? And their AI is probably going to go out and value Google reviews. Like, this person has 300, this person has 30. Who is AI going to recommend, right? So let's get into that. Candace and Tony, whoever would like to go first. I think a great idea, guys, would be maybe to share. Some people may not know anything about Google reviews. Maybe show your Google business page, talk about setting up a Google business page, and then how to ask for Google reviews. Who wants to share theirs first? Ladies first, maybe? Tony, what do you think?
Ladies first.
Let's go with Candace. Candace, go ahead and pop your screen up there. Are you able to share?
Give me a second here. Make sure I'm sharing the right screen. All right. Is that, you guys see all that?
Yep, we can see it. Beautiful. Go for it.
Awesome. So yeah, this is my Google page. Setting up a Google business page is very easy. When you're setting up a Google business page, you go to going to be Google business. You can do Google business account, right? Get listed on Google, get a Google business profile, and it's just step-by-step prompts of telling you how to set it up. But you want to set it up, and I always tell people you want to set it up so that your name kind of matches where your name is everywhere else on the internet. So my name on my business page on Facebook is Candace Neff, Realtor with eXp Realty. It's the same thing on Google, and that way it all, connects together. But it's important to, make sure that you have your Google reviews, because this is what people look for when they're looking for, any sort of service, not just real estate. So this is the Google business, where if you were to look me up, this is what you should see. And then on my end, because it's my website, or sorry, my Google page that I'm already logged in on Google, I'm able to kind of go in, edit my profile, read my reviews. If I have messages from people who have decided to send me a message on Google, things like that, I can create ads, I can create emails, I can add my social profiles. So it kind of just lets you, and the more you put on here, the better. You can't underdo it. You can't overdo it. Sorry, don't underdo it. Just as much info as it allows you to put on here is what I recommend putting on. So.
I love it. Do you want to show them where to ask for Google reviews, Candace?
Yes. Yep. So on on Google, you can do it manually on your computer. You can do it on your phone. It's pretty easy. I tend to do it on my phone, just because I like to be able to go in, just copy the link. Makes it really easy to just copy the link to your clipboard on your phone. But if you're doing it on a computer, you can see here on your Google business page, it'll sit here and say ask for reviews, and it'll give you a link. You can click this and copy it. You can go straight to Facebook, but I always just copy the link. Whenever I'm asking people for reviews, it's usually just my clients that I finished transactions with, and I will usually follow up within a day or two post closing just to see how things are going. And then I ask for a small favor. That's what I always say. And I send them that link. And of course they look at the reviews, I'm sure, before they leave a review. And thankfully all my reviews have been good. So it's super easy though. Ask for reviews, copy and paste the link. When you're on your phone, the mobile version, when you pull up your page, there's actually just a button that says share profile. And I just share the entire profile because it's really easy to see that there's a button for reviews and for people to leave reviews on there. So
I love it. Great stuff on there. Tony, what would you add on there? Candace did a great job covering that, but what
Yes.
would you add to there?
Well, I think backing up and talking about the importance of these reviews is really get the bases done. And really what this does is this creates, real trust, and it shows that you're credible. If they're looking for you on Google and you don't show up, they're going to start wondering if you're really credible. The other thing that it does is it enhances your search engine visibility. When people look for the best agent in a certain area, it's going to show, you closer to the top, if not on the top, if you're really working your Google reviews and your Google business page. So the SEO is enhanced, your search engine optimization. It gives you a real strong competitive edge with your competitors. Someone puts in best agent certain area and you continue to pop up in that area. And it's all because your Google business page has been enhanced with those reviews as well. So, you may say, well, I can do all that in Instagram or I can do that on Facebook. But the thing is you're going to get kind of lost in it all just using social media. The best thing to do is to go back and really create a presence. Now, one of the questions that, comes up, and it came up right before we went online just a minute ago, is, do I have to use my office address? And because sometimes you use your physical office address and you get lost in the mix with the rest of your office. I use my home, and I don't have to show my address. But for instance, like when I set up my business page, it asked for me to do a video to show that I was actually in business. What I did, I did a short video of less than, I think it was 2 minutes. And I went out and I videoed, the corner that's close to my house. I walked the video to my mailbox, showed an address on my mailbox. I walked the video camera up to my vehicle, showed my logo that's on my vehicle. I walked into my house, to my home office, showed a desk, showed my sign, showed, that I'm on duty there. And it shows that I'm credible as far as being in business. But you don't have to use your address in your business page. What Google's looking for is just to make sure you're really out there getting something done. So, all of this is going to have a great impact on the decisions that people make on who they want to do business with. This past weekend, I got a call. I didn't recognize the people, knew nothing about them. They said, "Can you meet us at a property?" And I just point blank, "How did you find me?" And they said, "Hey, we've been looking at your reviews. We like what we read. We were searching in this area and you came up and we made our decision to give you a call based on your reviews." And that's just so strong, is when you can get business just based on your reviews and your Google business page. So this is a real reason to set this thing up right in the beginning. Flow through with a Google counselor. They'll give you, they want to sell ads to you anyway. but they'll give you some coaching on how to set up your Google business page free, you know, because later on they're hoping that you'll advertise as well through your page. So, you know, use the systems that are there, use the coaching, and set the thing up right so people can find you.
Tony, I love what you said about Google vetting everyone. The vetting process is intense. They do have you jump through a lot of hoops. And because of that, a lot of realtors won't do it just because it's a PIA, stands for pain in the butt, right? And the fact that you have to do that gives you the ability to set yourself apart from other agents, because a lot of them won't even set up the Google business page. And so you're heads and shoulders of other agents right there. We're always trying to differentiate yourself. So I love that. Great stuff. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to go Tony first on this question. Then I'm going to go to Candace. These are some questions we came up with. By the way, the best questions always come from the audience, by the way. I got a little sheet of paper here. I got some questions on there. And actually, we do have one. Jacob Belt has one. You guys, either or both of you can answer this. Jacob wants to know, does our YouTube channel and Google reviews interact somehow? Who wants to take that one?
I'm
Candace?
not super familiar with that. I would say yes and no. If someone's looking up your YouTube account, your YouTube account is most likely connected through your Google business or your Google profile, which is then connected to your reviews. So I would say yes, it's going to affect it, and most likely positively affect it. So
I think Candace is right. Google owns YouTube, and the two biggest search engines in the world are, number one search engine is Google. Number two search engine is YouTube. So you absolutely want to have your information on there, and they do tie together. And of course, it's going to weight you, the weight, right? How you weigh against others. The AI is what I'm talking about, because people are not going to jump on the computer here in a few years. They're just going to say, hey, AI, who's the best realtor in Central Ohio? And AI is going to go out and it's going to use data. It's not going to use feelings and emotions. It's going to use data. Who has the most Google reviews? Who has the most YouTube videos? Who has the most content? And that's how they're going to say, hey, here's who you need to choose. You need to choose Candace Neff. And that's how it's going to work, AI in the very future. And that's why you got to work on this stuff right now.
Let me add, Jim,
But go.
let me add to that. When you set up a Google business page and it asks for a title, for instance, like if you go to mine, it says Tony and Pam Williams, you know, with eXp Realty. That title is everywhere. It matches my YouTube. It matches my Facebook business page. That title is the same everywhere. And what happens is the connection between YouTube and Google, you know, if you keep your title the same, you know, one of the big problems I had was, you know, I was licensed in Georgia as Anthony Williams. I've been in this business a long time. And this past year, I found out that some people couldn't find me because I'm getting lost in the Anthony world. And then some people, you know, they'll say, well, you know, we can't find Tony. And I had to literally go back to the real estate commission and get a release of Anthony and make Tony. One of the things was all my contracts, I signed all my contracts Tony. And so I was really doing something I wasn't supposed to do, because I should have been signing everything Anthony. But titling everything the same is real important to Google. You know, like if I take out just one little section, let's say I take out Pam, okay, who's my wife. And right now it's Tony and Pam Williams, and it'll always be. But the thing is if I just made it Tony Williams, I'm not going to come up as high on the search engines, because I've got different social media titled different ways. So in order for YouTube and Google to interact, make sure you title things the same.
I like that, Tony. Great advice. Candace seconds that. She says brand consistency. So Svetlana has a question. She says, I've been facing issues with my Google business page. Join the crowd, Svetlana. So I'm waiting for the answer to this myself. Validation since February. She's trying to get validated. I have submitted multiple appeals with documents and videos, and I haven't been validated yet. Who can help me resolve this, please? Who would they want to contact on that, Candace or Tony?
Yeah, there's actually a phone number for Google that you can call, and they will assign a coach to you free, and they'll take you step by step to get validated. it took me a long time. One of the things I continue to have problems with was the insurance policy. I would load an insurance policy. I'd load my binder to them. They didn't like it. And finally, I was able to get my E&O insurance from the company that I work with, and they accepted that. So, you know, it took that coach at Google to help me walk through what they were looking for. So don't be afraid to ask for help. There's actually a phone number in Google that you can contact to get a good coach to help you out.
Yeah, just remember, everybody, that the hassle that you're going through means a lot of people won't do it. So that's going to give you a chance to separate yourself from the herd. So do it. It's worth doing it. And as AI becomes more and more, if you believe AI is going to come on and take over, you want to be there, because AI is going to use data, and Google's going to be a big source of information as to where they're going to rank you as far as other agents on that. So some people are asking, what's the Google number? Do you guys know where to, if you don't know where to find it or want to research it, we'll go ahead and put that in the chat, and we'll come back to that one as they look for it. But let's get into one of the questions people has is, how do I get people to leave a review? How do I encourage satisfied customers to leave reviews? Because here's what happens a lot of times. Pissed off people, they're more than ready to leave a review, right? Of course, no one on here ever has any angry real estate customers. Every deal goes perfectly smoothly. There's never any hiccups, right? But how do you encourage the satisfied people? Because here's the thing. You can have 100 5-star reviews, but you get one that leaves a 1-star review, that can ding you down quite a bit. You've got to have a lot of 5-star reviews to cancel out a 1-star review. And here's the other thing. A 4-star review is not a good one. A lot of people think a 4-star review is good. You don't want 4 stars. You need 5-star reviews. So we're going to go ahead and we'll start with Candace. What are some strategies for requesting reviews from clients? When do you approach them with it? Is there a time that you're doing it? Because you're having a lot of success with this. And then we'll go to Tony next. And then how do you give them easy to follow instructions for leaving a review? Go ahead, Candace first.
Yeah. So, I mean, I approach my business and every transaction truly with my clients, you know, at the forefront of every transaction. I'm not really asking them to do a single thing for me. I'm doing everything for them. That's the whole point of it, right? So, you know, at the end of, I always do it at the end of the transaction. Some people do it like a couple days before it's closed, but I don't like that, because the closing is the most exciting part of the transaction, as long as it's, you know, went pretty smooth for the most part. So what I usually do is, you know, basically the first week after closing, they're going to hear from me a lot, and not just, you know, asking for a review, but it's like, hey, did you, you know, get your stuff moved in? Hey, you know, how's the house going so far? You know, just kind of checking in with them on the house, asking them if they need anything. And then, you know, somewhere in between there, one day I'll just reach out to them and say, hey, I just want to thank you again for, you know, working with me and trusting me to help. I know you had a ton of, you know, people to choose from, so it means the world to me. And I always say, can I ask you a small favor? And I just leave it at that. And they usually are always like, yeah, sure, you know, of course. And I always just say, hey, Google reviews have been a huge part of my business and helping people find me and trust to work with me. I always give them an example of, like, if you're going to go on Amazon and you're going to order something online, you're probably not going to choose, if you know, search a product, you're not going to choose the product that has the least amount of reviews and the lowest star reviews, right? Same thing, right? So you know, my business depends on, you know, 5-star reviews. And I always ask them for a raving 5-star review. I use that word. And people are like, oh yeah. So they don't just go on there and click 5 stars and submit, but they actually leave you a nice long review. And that's like almost every single review I have on my Google, which has been just tremendous for my business because it shows that people really had an awesome experience with you. So I always ask, usually within a few days post-closing, after I've asked them how they're doing, is there anything I can do for them, before I then turn around and ask them for a review.
That's great. You're depositing into the relationship bank account before you decide to make a withdrawal. So I love that. Tony, what's some strategies you're using to get reviews? Because you're killing it too.
Well, you know, Candace, you know, she showed it just a minute ago. You need to make it easy to leave a review. So that link is real important, that you send them the link. If they can't figure out how to leave a review, then they're lost. So make it real easy. The other thing is you might want to give them a little bit of coaching on how to leave a review. I had a fellow, let's call him Jim, not Jim Lambright, but it was a client, Jim. And I asked him, I said, can you leave me a 5-star review? Well, all of a sudden I got a notice that he left a 5-star review with nothing else. No remarks, just 5 stars. That's all it was. And I called him, I said, Jim, hey, help me with this. And he goes, man, I don't know how to do this. And so I called his wife and I said, Lisa, I said, hey, can you help me out with this? She went back and left a 5-star review with a raving, remarks in there. Then the other thing that I do is I ask my clients or reviews to post a picture. I would say, post a picture of your house, or maybe that picture we took at closing together, but post a picture after a review because Google likes those pictures as well. But in all this, the timing is the key to get those reviews done. From time to time, I'll use, in my KV Core, I'll use an automated follow-up system with a link in there to ask for reviews for automatic follow-ups. I personalize the request. I tailor the message to them. I don't send out just a message that I would send out to everybody, but I'll say, great to hear about your son's soccer team the other day. Hey, while we're talking, would you mind taking a few minutes and giving us a 5-star review? Now, I want to tell you something to be real careful about, because I got in trouble for doing this one time with Google. Be careful about giving incentives to get reviews, okay? Because I had a client that said, hey, thanks for the gift card. I left a review just like you asked me to. They put that in the review about the gift card, and Google got a hold of it and started taking people down on my site. And then I had to go back and ask for forgiveness and all this type of stuff. I should have, asked for permission on the front end. But they don't like incentives, okay? So be real careful about offering incentives. You want to highlight the benefits of why you're asking for this review. And then the other thing that I do is I'll send a thank you note, a personalized thank you note, handwritten thank you note for the review after they've left it as well. And then the last thing on that is you're going to be given the opportunity after they leave a review for you to reply back. Google wants you to reply back. They want you to reply back to the review that the client has given. So just take a few minutes, say thank you to them, and you'll find out by leaving that reply that enhances your review structure, and your Google business page, gets enhanced as well.
While we're talking about encouraging customers to leave reviews, Mr. Trong out of Chandler, Arizona has a question. Is there a maximum number of reviews per day allowed? And this is a big deal. Who wants to take this one? Or both of you?
We talked about this for a minute. I want to say it's probably 2 to 3, because Google is pretty serious about this stuff. They don't want spammers just coming on and randomly, leaving hundreds of thousands of reviews on your page and they're not legit. So they really focus, and they have a team that watches this stuff. And I don't know how they do it, but they do. And they will take stuff down, or they won't allow it to be posted. And I do know that on the back end of things, they are, looking into, if you've got 3 people leaving a review at the same time, or like within minutes of each other, they're going to go into those people's, back end of whatever, if they have a Google page, they're going to go check them out, make sure they're legit, and see where else are they leaving reviews. Is it the same review? Is it a copy paste situation? So you definitely don't want a mass number of people leaving reviews on your page within a short amount of time. You want to spread that out.
Candace is right. At lunch, 3 of us realtors together decided we would all leave a Google review for each of us on there to give us 3, and it flagged all 3 of them. And none of us showed up on anybody's page on that. And so they got a little slap on the wrist for that. So you definitely want to make sure they are clients, customers, and real people. We're going to get into that a little bit coming up on that. Anything you want to add to that one, Tony? You want to go to the next section?
I was in a meeting one time where they signed up 30 realtors in a room, and they said, let's all leave each other reviews. We'll pick a calendar day. We'll do a rotation. We'll leave, all these reviews. And it was just one a day, okay? But the problem was all these reviews said nothing about how they used me as their realtor. Okay. What they said was, it was great to meet you in the meeting. I'm leaving you a review because you asked me to leave you a review, you know, that kind of stuff. Well, Google, they go back and they check, oh, something's happening here where a spam meeting has happened and they've determined, you know, let's all just leave a review a day. They took all 30 reviews down. Every one of them went down. And then I noticed that my legit, you might say, reviews from my clients were not being posted on Google. You know, people will tell me, hey, I left you a review. Why are you asking me again? And I'm like, what is going on here? And they essentially put me in review jail for doing that. So just be real careful. You want this to be legit.
Review jail, Google review jail. They have a way of getting to you, don't they, Tony?
Yes, they do.
They all knowing Google. So you cannot outsmart the Google algorithm, even though you'd like to try. Kim Campbell says review jail, LOL. So that's great. Okay, so let's go to responding to reviews. Tony, you talked about it a little bit. Candace, what do you do as far as responding to reviews that you get?
Yeah, I mean, as the minute I get a review, so I always tell my clients like, hey, just let me know as soon as you've left the review so I can verify it showed up, right? And then also that way it gives you the opportunity to immediately go in and reply. I think, you know, again, Google's watching everything, just is what it is, guys. So I see it as an opportunity to show Google that I'm very engaged in my business and that my business is relevant. And so I go in immediately and I reply, and I don't just put thank you. You know what I mean? I put substance in my response to the review as well. And I try to specify it to each client. So yeah, it's so important. And Google will remind you when you reply to a review, if you've forgotten to reply to some reviews that you have, it'll let you know and say, hey, do you want to go reply to this review? Because you forgot to. They really, really want you to reply to it. Super important. So highly recommend doing that and making sure that you don't just, you know, like the review and leave a thank you. You want to actually have some substance to your reply.
Well, Tony and
Yeah.
Candace, with you both being super professionals, you've probably never gotten a negative review, but if you had, can you respond to how would you handle it if you did get a negative review? How would you handle that professionally? What would you do?
Tony, you or me?
Well, yeah, go ahead. That's fine.
I have not ever gotten a negative review. I'm not going to say that. So not every transaction is perfect, right? And a lot of the times things that go wrong, well, at least it shouldn't be your fault. But if it is your fault, then, you know, maybe that review is, you know, definitely worth something. But usually, you know, if there's things during transactions that happen that are out of my control, but, you know, your clients don't know that. But that's part of educating them and making sure they understand, you know, what's happening and why it's happening. But I've never had a negative review. I also, you know, I'm mindful of who I'm asking for reviews, of people who I know are willing to go out of their way for me and leave me a nice review. But I do have one 4-star out of my 90 reviews, which really is frustrating to me. But thankfully Google, like, I don't know, I must have enough 5 stars that it wiped the 4 and it doesn't show up as even like affecting my reviews. But it was this client who it was a crazy situation. We were having a real hard time during the height of the market trying to find him a home. It's just his budget was tough. We didn't have a lot of money to work with. And thankfully I was able to find him an off-market property. And it was just honestly the perfect property for him. And it was just an overall really good situation. But he's a real analytical guy. And so when I asked him for a review, I was thinking, oh yeah, this will be a slam dunk, right? Well, he left me 4 stars. And I was like, huh. And he just left 4 stars and he left no like substance to the review. It was just 4 stars, submit. So of course I reached out to him. This was my, you know, reach out to him. This was like 3 years ago. I said, hey, I think his name was Austin. You know, I noticed you left me a review. I really, really appreciate it. So I started off with that, right? And I said, I always strive for that 5-star. I said, I noticed you left me 4. And honestly, I just want to know what was it that I could have done better to earn that, you know, that 5th star. And he told me, well, you know, I'm pretty, you know, critical of myself even. So, you know, it's not that you didn't do a really great job. I think you did, but it's really hard for me to leave 5 stars for people. So, you know, I just reached out and asked him, you know, what more could I have done or how could I have better served you? But I think if I were to get a bad review, I don't know, that'd be really tough. But I mean, at the end of the day, you kind of have to just step back, and not, not get defensive, but really truly dig down deep and to find out what it was. Why did they not give you, the review that you were looking for? And honestly, you can't get those reviews removed. So even if it was someone who was like, they're reviewing the transaction, and the transaction may have been tough, but it really wasn't anything that you could have done, but they're not differentiating the two. You can't get that to be taken down. So it just kind of is what it is, unfortunately. Hoping that never happens. But I mean, you just have to approach it with, come from contribution, and really care about, why they left that review, and just let it be what it is. So, but I would reply to that review, after I've asked them why, and probably just reply and, in a way that doesn't, minimize their, feelings during the transaction, but also to help build myself back up as, did what we could to, help this transaction go, smooth as possible. But unfortunately there were hurdles, whatever it was. Right. So that's kind of how I would personally handle it.
I love that. And people can go back and edit it, right? I mean, if you go and contact them off Google and try to fix it and make it better, I want to learn from this. What can I do to earn, a higher rating from you? What would make it better? I mean, you can do that and then go back and edit it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they can. Yeah.
Yeah. Tony,
Yeah,
what
they can.
about you? If you were to get a negative one, how would you handle it? I like that answer, Candace.
Well, yeah, one of the things that I found, I mean, I've been in the business long enough to where I'm going to have an enemy from time to time. And it may be someone in the business who just says, you know what, I'm going to find a way to do something. And Google is good about looking for things like that. Like if the competition tries to leave a bad review, they'll pick up on it and see where it's coming. I mean, Google, it's amazing how they really watch this. But some of the things that Candace was talking about, everything that she said just shows that, she's all about customer service. And when you contact someone who left you a negative review, it's showing that, you want to demonstrate good customer service to make sure that you can improve your customer service. And it's going to put you on a whole different professional level. The other thing it does is it mitigates, future damage. It's tough. Like when you have someone that wants to threaten your business, and it's going to mitigate that type of damage in the future if you can respond promptly to something that may be negative. I've had 2 negative reviews, and they were both able to go back and edit, after we talked things through. The other thing is it provides an opportunity to have resolution of problems. Maybe something slipped through the cracks and you didn't see, that happen, but it gives you the opportunity to make things right. It shows that, you're authentic. It shows that you have transparency. It shows that you have accountability for your work. And that's going to be huge, for future business from that person as well. And it shows that you're looking to improve. And so someone that leaves a negative comment like that, they're going to pick up that you want to make things right. I'm all about doing the right thing. I want to do the right thing from the front end all the way through. If I mess up along the way, I want to make things right. So my best practice in all this is to find out what can I do to improve. That's going to make everyone that I'm working with professionals, and it'll help long term to get more business.
Accountability and apology goes a long way. So I love that. People like when
Jim,
people take responsibility. Go ahead.
I was gonna build, right, what Tony just said was something super important. I think when you start building your Google reviews page and you start getting those reviews, it levels up your business and your customer service level, because you know that these reviews can make or break your business. So I think that it really does hold you accountable, because at the end of that transaction, you want that really good review. And so your game just steps up that much more. I would say since I've started Google reviews, I've always, put customer service, first, but it really, you really want to make sure that person truly feels like they were taken care of and that you cared about them through the process, and they want to leave you a raving review. So.
Love it. Raving review. I love it. So Lord Apollo says that She says that she's heard that if you want to leave reviews for other realtors or vendors we work with, it's best to wait at least 3 days between the reciprocal reviews so they're not flagged as spam. Interesting strategy, Laura. That's I'd like to see how that works. So Svetlana had a question, said, have you had business come from your Google business page, right? How many clients have you had? I think you guys answered that right earlier. You were talking about Tony, you said people actually looked through your Google reviews, read through it, and that's why they chose you.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
it's amazing
perfect.
how many people bring up my Google reviews. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, before you go to a restaurant, what do? A new restaurant, you read the reviews. What do people say about it, right? Before you go to a hotel or an Airbnb, you read the reviews. Same thing with real estate, except the big thing about it is this: AI is going to be able to read every review you have in a split second and be able to report that to your person. So, Jamie Parker, you have a question. I see your hand up. And then
Yes,
Maria
we
will come
tried
to you.
to.
Maria will come to you next after Jamie. Go ahead.
Yeah, we tried to do like a group thing on a spreadsheet where we were leaving reviews for one another, and Google took every single one of those reviews down. We tried to do that after one of the conferences we went to, and we were spreading it out every day, every other day. It was, yeah, I don't think I have a single. I think I have maybe one of those reviews still up. But the other thing too is see if you can get your referral partners. So if you're getting incoming referral business and outgoing referral business, see those agents that you're doing referral business with, because you've actually already done business with them. Try to get them to leave you a review as well. I have one of my people that did that, and that I just checked, and the review is still there. Because I actually did legitimate business. She sent me a client, and I took care of them, and she was happy with what I did, and so that is still up. So that's another avenue. But yeah, they will take it down if you try to do that. We tried.
Let me
Love it. Good
let me add
advice on
something.
that. Go ahead.
Let me add something into this, or my my Riddlin won't, jump in. You should leave reviews where you go, because that will build up your own Google business page. Like if you go to a restaurant, leave a review for that restaurant. Leave good reviews everywhere you go, and you're going to find out that's going to enhance your own Google business page.
Great advice on that. Great advice on it. So Maria, you had your hand up earlier. You still have a question? Go for it. And then we'll go to you, Dan.
Yeah, I don't have a question, but I have an experience. I got a while back, I got my first bad review, and it was by mistake. So it was when I had my brokerage. I had many agents under me, and one of my agents, she represented the buyer for this rental property. So they did the transaction, they closed. It just so happens that the agent and the client had the same name. Let's call her Sally. There was Sally 1 and Sally 2. So after the sale, my agent, she did not do property management. Okay. So apparently now the new owner and the tenant did not get along, and they were just not being professional with each other. So that tenant thought that it was the agent, Sally, that was she was talking to all this time. And she went on to Google and put a bad review. And I remember that morning I woke up, and the first thing I do, I go to my emails, and it said I had a review. I was all excited. And then I read it, and I was like, oh my gosh. And, she even mentioned the agent's name, right? Which was for the wrong person. So I immediately called the agent. I'm like, what's going on? Because I need to know. But before that, I was like, okay, I'm not going to get mad. I'm not going to blame anyone. I just need to get the facts straight. So I did reply to that review. And I said, I apologize. I'm sorry that this happened to you, but let me do some investigation to see what exactly went on, and if there's anything I can help you in resolving the issue. So that's what's my response. So I'll go back to the agent. She's like, no, it's not me. It's the owner. I have nothing to do with that tenant. So then after I investigated, she responded back with, okay, thank you. And then I responded back to that thank you saying, okay, so after looking into the situation, it was determined that, I explained what happened in general, not into detail, but at the end, I'm like, okay, well, I hope you resolve this issue with the landlord, and thank you for that, and she was thankful that I clarified. She apologized. She said she was sorry. So back with my team, because like somebody else said, I was used to having all 5-star reviews. And then this one was like a 1 or 2. So it was like so bad. So what I did with my team, I said, okay, guys, this is what happened, obviously this might affect our business, but let's not just sit here and do nothing. I'm gonna do a challenge for the whole brokerage. Everybody, this is a gift card, and some marketing material for y'all. Whoever gets the most reviews in this office, like literally within 2 weeks, we had a lot of good reviews from past clients that they never asked for a review from. Also with business partners, I'm like, who's your lender? Okay, call your lender, and if they're really your lender, tell them to be honest and write a good review for you. And that's what we did. And that low review went all the way to the bottom, and I think it's lost somewhere in there already. So that's my experience.
Great advice. Love it. Good stuff. Dan McDonald, been patiently waiting. What do you got?
Well, I just wanted to let you know about my own personal recent experience with Google. I've been doing real estate for quite a few years now, time's flown by, and I've never asked for reviews. One from my daughter a few years ago. That's it, really bad. And so I've really decided to bear down, start getting reviews. And so I've been going through this Google screen process, getting verified. Took me over a month. I just got verified last week. But I found out something interesting because I just talked to Google verification again today and a couple of times last week, in that if you're getting reviews once you get verified through local service ads, you want to get a review from your client from that Google local services ads link first. The reason why that's important is because Google considers that a verified review. If you go through your Google business profile, again, this is what Google's, and I've talked to multiple people in Google the last couple of weeks, it's not considered as strong of a review versus going through local services. So what you have to do is, even though I've got my local services profile and my Google business profile linked now as of last week, Google's saying that, hey, get the review first through your local services ad, get that review. Once you get that review, see if you can get a second review using your Google profile link from that same client. Because if you get a review first through your Google profile, not local services ad, then it doesn't carry as much weight. So you want to get first through your local services ad profile, then get a second review using a separate link through your Google profile page. I mean, I've been going through this so much, I've got like burned in my memory.
Love it. Great advice on that. Great stuff on that. Susan Martello had a question. Oh, Rob Campbell, go ahead first. You go, and then we'll read Susan's question, see if anybody can help her with that in the chat. Go ahead, Rob.
Candace put in the comments that she got 6 new clients in the last 2 months on Google reviews. How are those clients finding you? What are they coming from? What are they searching for? How do they get to you?
Yeah. So, well, Dan just brought it up, so I'm glad, because I was hoping to talk about this. Google local services ads. So I have that set up. So yeah, you have to be verified, you have to be screened, all of that. And it's essentially when people go online and they search for services, the people who are paying for the Google local services ads, which are a pay per call versus a pay per click model. So Google will only charge you for when you receive a call from the customer. And these calls are just so much more legit. Like almost every single call, except for maybe 2 that I've received since I've started these ads have been legitimate customers. You'll get calls from, contractors trying to connect with realtors or random stuff like that. You can dispute that with Google. Google will listen to the recording, because when they call through Google to you, which is what they'll do, Google gets that recording of that call. They'll make sure that it's a legitimate potential opportunity, or if it's a, just someone just trying to, connect with you for, being a contractor, recommendation, whatever it might be. But people are finding me, and my Google reviews are placing my relevance higher. But I do also have a pretty high budget for my monthly maximum that I want Google to allow for me to spend per month. The more you put that budget at, the higher priority they're going to put you in that list. And so, whatever you're willing to pay for is, obviously relevance and where they place you for, SEO, like Tony talked about earlier. So yeah, I'm getting direct phone calls. Hey, Candace, I've got a house to sell. I want you to sell it for me. Hey, Candace, I'm looking to buy a house. I mean, these are calls coming to me. I'm not doing anything except for paying for the lead when it comes in. So it's been very, very good, but it's so important because every single person that's called me has said, I looked up, an agent in the specific area. Your name was in a list. Your reviews were better than everyone else's. And that's why they called me.
Yeah. Hey,
Very
there's
nice.
one thing, make sure you heard something there that Candace said. And by the way, Dan McDonald's my hero. But I'll tell you this, that I was on the phone with a Google coach, and he looked at my account for my services ad, and I had it like, a budget of what, $50 a month, something like that. And he goes, hey, I'm going to make a change here for you. And I said, okay, so what's going to happen here? He goes, just watch. And he changed it from $50 to $1,000 a month. And I said, wait a minute. I said, I'm not ready to go $1,000 a month. He says, no, he says, the higher your budget, the more that you're going to have going on. He says, the only time you ever pay for anything is when you actually get a call. He says, but if you make your budget higher, he says, you're going to get more calls, and those calls, you're going to do more business. At first, I thought I wanted to fight with him about it, about controlling my budget. But then it made sense because the calls started to increase. I'm still spending probably less than $50 a month, but my budget shows 1,000. And you know what? I'm getting more legitimate calls because my budget's higher. Does that make sense?
Google's all about the money. That answered a bunch of questions in the chat. That was on there. How much is your budget and things like that? And
Right.
there you go. About $150 a lead. Candace says what hers are running on it. But the thing I've always learned about marketing is if you could put $1,000 into a machine and have it spit out $5,000 90 days later, would you do that? How much would you put in then all day long? You could scale it and put it in and put in $1,000 in the machine, and then you come back 90 days later and it spits out 5,000. There's your 20% marketing cost right there if you're doing it on that. And I think go ahead,
Jim. I want to make sure before we get off the call to bring up one other thing is when I get good Google reviews, especially from a buyer or a seller that's fresh, that essentially everyone knows, I'll go back and ask for permission to put their reviews on other social media things. And I may put their picture that we took together and their review on a Facebook, ad or something like that. And I found by, taking their review and placing it on social media somewhere else after I've gotten their permission, it gives more credibility to the public, and I'll get more business because of that. I could just leave the review in my Google business page, and hopefully somebody will see it at some point when they're looking at reviews, but ask for permission to essentially reprint their review somewhere. And you'll find out it'll go a lot further if you'll just use what they've already said.
That's great. That was actually our next topic, was how to showcase the reviews on your website and social media. Candace, what do you want to add on that? Great segue, Tony.
Yeah, no, same thing. I mean, you want to be everywhere on the internet, and you want brand consistency, and you want that review when it shows up, if someone searches your name, right, and they're trying to, find more out about you, which is just going to happen inevitably. You want it to be all of your social pages and all of the awesome reviews that, you know, that maybe they didn't see that specific one on your Google page. So again, it just helps with search engine optimization, just to help your page and your reviews become more relevant to people. So I do post them, but I usually don't post them as a post. I'll do it more in like my stories sometimes. Posting it, you know, on your page probably is the best route to go, just so it's constantly there. But yeah, I tend to just keep everything on Google. But like Tony said, it does make sense to have it as many places as possible. It adds a little extra work, but it's 100% worth it, because if you don't like talking about yourself, let your reviews do that for you.
Yeah, in real estate,
Yeah.
we have to be shameless self-promoters, right? And a lot of times, if you talk nice about yourself, you're an a-hole. But if somebody else talks nice about you, then it's third-party edification. So I love that. Tony, you wanted to add something before we go to our next topic here?
Yeah, one of the things that Google wants you to do is post as many photos and videos as possible to your Google business page. And when you post those photos, you want to make sure that you geotag those photos. So I use a little system. I think I pay less than $10 a month for it. It's called Geotag Photos Online. And essentially what it does is I put a photo out there in that system, and then I'll put, you know, where that photo was taken up in their search. It'll give a geotag, and then it will tag that photo to where that is, you know, and, you know, Google likes that these photos are geotagged, you know, because it shows that they're really real, you know. So use geotag whenever you use photos.
Love it. Great stuff on that. So Svetlana says, whoops, I need to ask permission to post on social media. And she's got the hands over the face little emoji there. Yeah, I think a lot of us got an aha on that one to remember to do that. So that's great. As we're wrapping up here, coming to the end, what do you guys recommend or what do you use to maintain a consistent review strategy? Because here's what happens to realtors, right? We have all these shiny objects going on. Everybody's like, oh my God, I need to get Google reviews. But then we get distracted, you know, working in the business versus working on our business. What do you guys use for a strategy to keep it consistent?
I personally, like I said, it's as a part of my post closing for every single transaction, my checklist. Like I said, within the first week, I'm going to talk to them at least probably 4 to 5 times. And I know that one of those 4 to 5 times is me asking them for a review. And I just keep a running spreadsheet of, you know, who I've asked for a review. Have they responded? Have they left me one? But it's just a part of my business now. I'm never not asking for it, unless of course I'm worried that, you know, the review could get a little transaction based versus my customer service based. I try to keep a spreadsheet so I can know who's left it, who have I asked, who haven't I asked. I go through my reviews often just to, you know, comb through them. I'll match them with, you know, past clients and make sure, you know, hey, can I find who's left me a review, who hasn't, who have I missed? So it's just a part of my daily routine. I go through my Google every single day, just because it's been such a huge part of my business. So
That's great. Tony, how about you?
Yeah, I'm venturing more into having a more of a presence in my website with widgets and, you know, correct type of script, but having a place in my website, you know, where I ask for the review more and more instead of me having to call them or contact them direct, make it more automated. And I'm looking more and more into that, which I think is, you know, the more that I can do the things I want to do in a day's time and not worry about these types of things, the better. So trying to find a way to make it more automated. I don't think that Google has a widget themselves, but there's different types of programs out there that will create widgets to put on your website to ask for those reviews.
Beautiful. Love it, love it, love it. I think we talked about legal and ethical considerations. Anything we missed as far as understanding Google's review policies and guidelines, other than you better understand it because Google will shut you down if you're not doing it right. And that we should not be getting fake or malicious reviews. Otherwise, if you're doing anything like that, they'll shut you down too, right? Anything we missed on that we need to cover? I think we kind of talked about earlier.
I think just be careful that if you start, you know, offering incentives for reviews, you're going to have problems with that. I was in the same room, you know, where Jamie was talking about, you know, where they created this Excel spreadsheet and everybody took turns to do that. They caught up with that. They, you know, put me into review jail because of that kind of stuff. Just be real authentic with the way that you ask for reviews, and Google loves what you do. Just stay, you know, they're the ones that control it. So do all you can to stay verified and stay, you know, in their good steads.
All right, I love it. Any questions for our panelists here before we wrap up? We've got next Monday coming up. We've got another mastermind we're going to be having. We have that every Monday at noon Eastern. So make sure you time block that out. And we'll be having a topic set up for that. I don't think we have our topic set up for next Monday. I don't believe. Do we, Kim or Rob? Do we know? Go ahead,
Yes,
Kim.
we do. We have that open house with the coaches of all coaches, Kelly Jackson and Erica Lewis. I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
like the powerhouse, you know. I mean, a lot of people do open houses and, you know, they don't convert anything. These are the queens of conversion for open houses because they don't go and get a sign and put it up hoping somebody going to show up. I mean, these queens are like, you come in, you know, it might buy the house, but you're gonna, you know, they make things happen doing these open house. And that's why, I mean, you gotta bring your notebook and come and learn from these two amazing queens, you know, Queen Kelly and Queen, you know, Kelly Jackson and Erica Lewis. So there we go. Yeah, look at all those queens. I mean, like,
Beautiful.
I vote them for president, vice president, you know, the US if it's possible.
You know, they always say open houses are a waste of time, but effective open houses are
Yeah.
deadly effective, and you can make a fortune doing that. So that's what we're doing next Monday at noon. You guys definitely going to want to be on here for that, because here's the thing: a lot of agents don't do open houses, and once again, here is a way for you to differentiate yourself from the herd and to get into front of people. And no matter how much technology and AI comes into, people want to do business with people. They want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. There's no better way to get to know somebody than what we say in the old days, belly to belly or face to face, right? That's the best way to do that. So we're getting ready to wrap up. Don't forget, we have this recorded. So if you're like, oh my gosh, how do I get to the Google review request link? Watch for it on the YouTube page. It'll probably be posted later today, and you'll be able to get in there. And look, go to our website. You'll see the website right here, actually, that you're taking a look at here on the screen. And you can actually suggest a topic if you want to. If you're a topic you'd like to see, you can do that. There you go. Click here to suggest a topic. And then also, if you're somebody who's really good at something that you're like, other agents need to know this, we'd love to have you as a panelist and for you to teach everybody. That's what we're doing here. We're all giving back to each other, because here's what we know. Together, we can all sell more houses, make more money, have more free time, and ultimately have more fun. And that's the idea. The saying is this: if you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, you go as a group. And that's what we're doing here. We're agents helping agents here on this thing with Grow Global. So next week, bring a friend. The bigger we grow this thing, the more diverse backgrounds we have, the more we can all learn from each other. And we'll see Kelly Jackson and Erica Lewis next Monday on here. They'll be in the hot seat. Bring your best open house questions. Bring some open house stories and things like that, and we'll be doing great. Big round of applause, everybody. Unmute and tell everybody Tony and Candace did a great job. Give them some applause.
Man, Candace,
And
so
thank you guys. You were awesome. I got a bunch out of it today. More
Great
than
call, guys.
you.
Thank you.
So